Hi guys, here's a hand from our now weekly big game. It's the £1 and £2 no limit hold'em game at my local casino. Hopefully this will give you some flavour of how we roll here. As you can see, I'm dealt ace king on the button. We get the usual limper. Karate Kid limps in, as does C8 I believe. Yep. Now I raise to 8 purely for value. They've obviously not got a lot, they're only limping. I fully expect everybody to fold and we'll get on with the next hand. I think 8 is about right into that pot. It was only £9 after all. Anyway, there's more drama to come, as you can imagine. Villain calls. Limp fold, nice one. Call and another limp fold. Well played, sir. The flop is all good. I'm 90% sure I've got the best hand right now, having flopped 2 pair. Let's bet this, take it down next hand, please. Anyway, villain 1 bets. This guy will bet most flops, and if called or raised, he will check or call and reevaluate on the turn. The other guy is a gambler and can have all sorts of draws here, so I'm gonna raise this up in an effort to at least thin the field out and hopefully get the Karate Kid here to fold. As I put villain 1 on 1 or 2 pair here, as he would have bet more if he had a set to protect his hand because he's scared of flush draws and straight draws. The Karate Kid here is definitely on a draw in my opinion. He wouldn't be any monster that he has here. He's gonna smash the pot. He's not just gonna flat call. He's almost certainly on hearts. Now I raise it to 48. There's 65 in the pot. My thinking here is that I wanted to keep the villain in and get the Karate Kid out. I think I should have raised it to 65 or 70. As the Karate Kid here will pay a lot with a draw, particularly if he has a flush draw. He would almost go all in right now. So I think I made a mistake and made my bet sizing a bit light here. The problem is here that however much I bet, if the villain calls, the Karate Kid here will think he's getting odds to call. He's going to call anyway. In fact, he'll jam if he's got hearts. By jam, I mean get it all in. So all I can do is bet 2/3 of pot-ish and hope for a blank card on the turn. I've almost got a drawing hand here. I'm drawing to a brick on the turn where my equity will rocket and I can bomb the turn and scare draws out and get value from made hands. It's a difficult situation really when I think about it. Getting value from made hands and getting rid of draws, can that be done in the set with the same bet size? Yeah, I have to choose a bet size for the situation. Anyway, I chose 48. I think it was a bit light. As you can see, both villains call, and this inflates the pot to £173. And delivers a heart on the turn. Brilliant. This is where the hand gets interesting in a different way. Villain 1 bets 119 into about 170 when the heart arrives. And the Karate Kid jams. My hand is dead here, so I've got no option but to fold. I'm literally drawing to an ace or a king. Villain calls, turns over top pair, nut flush, draw, and the Karate Kid has, as suspected, a made flush. Now, as you can see, the heart gets there on the river. At this point, the Karate Kid literally jumps out of his chair, smashes the table a couple of times with his hand, and does a kind of a roundhouse kick on one of the side tables, sending it flying across the card room. All the while shouting at the villain, questioning his parentage and sexual orientation, then storms out of the card room swearing, which leaves the villain with the rag ace to scoop the pot, and me to contemplate my luck having flopped top 2 and getting outdrawn by these two. I don't know what... It was quite a funny hand. It was like something out of the Wild West, the way this guy was smashing the table and the dealer was just looking at him. The card room manager was just looking. They honestly didn't know what to do. He didn't get banned. He was in the next day playing again. As far as my play is concerned, I think my bet sizing should have been larger on the flop, but I honestly don't believe I'm getting the Karate Kid to fold. I might get the villain to fold if I bet big enough, but once he's picked up that draw on the turn as well, he's going nowhere. So anyhow, that was an example of the top play exhibited in my local casino and the perfect etiquette of the guys playing. Thanks, guys. I've just decided to add another hand to the end of this video. Just an interesting one to make you aware of the prevalence in live play of limp raising or limp jamming monsters. I don't think it happens so much online, but it does definitely happen amongst players in live situations. I was just thinking back to that hand. That hand I just played you. Originally, I was just going to make it an amusing hand, describing some of the shenanigans that go on in my casino. What with the chopping of the table, kicking the other small table across the room, and storming out, and not getting banned or warned or anything. But it got me to thinking afterwards about the bet sizing on the flop, the situation I find myself in on the flop, knowing that I'm against probably a made hand which I'm beating and a draw, or slightly less likely 2 draws. But assuming that I put them, as I did in this case, on a made hand that I'm beating and a draw, what do I do with my bet sizing? I mean, I've got around about 65% equity in the pot, and I have to bet for value, but I'm always getting called if the first villain calls the second one. If the second is on a draw, he's always calling as well. If it's the other way around, possibly the made hand folds. But in those circumstances, what do I do? I bet around 2/3, 3/4 pot. I think that's all I can do. Hope for a blank on the turn. My equity then goes up by about 10%. And I can bet bigger and get value from both the draw and the made hand again. So in hindsight, I think the bet sizing was right, and it was just one of those moments where it was in the lap of the gods, and the cards delivered the draw on the turn, and there's nothing more I can do. Anyway, back to this game. It's back to the regular 51 game. I'm in the big blind with aces, as you can see, and I'll play the hand out so that you can see what's going on. The real loser for this is villain 2. C3 limps, villain 1. Under the gun limps, rather. Villain 1 limps. Folds round. Button decides to fold. Nice one, mate. And villain 2 raises to 6. This is a squeeze play, it transpires, by him. Obviously, I raise to 18. Pretty standard. And I guess online guys would raise less there. I'm raising for value. Once the guy who's bet 6 has bet, he's almost 100% of the time calling to my raise. And I may even get a call out of one of the other seats. Seat 3 folds. The famous limp fold maneuver. Well played, sir. And villain 1 jams. Now, this is rarely queens, sometimes kings, and often aces in live game with this stack size. As you can see, it feels like Christmas to me. I'm sat here with the nuts, and I've got a guy raising into me. The real loser to here is villain 2, who, as you can see, has to fold. No gremlins on the board, and I scoop the pot. Happy days. Just a example of the limp jamming. The range of limp jamming in live play is probably 5% queens, 20% kings, and the rest aces. So there's another fine piece of play from my game. Bye.